March 17th, 1943. Berlin. In the cold corridors of German military intelligence, a single document was making its way through the chain of command. It wasn't marked urgent. It carried no dramatic classification, just another intelligence report from agents operating in neutral territories. But the numbers on that page represented something far more dangerous than any weapon the Allies had yet deployed. They described an industrial capability so vast, so incomprehensible, that the officers who read it simply couldn't process what they were seeing. A factory in America, they were told, would soon be producing a complete 4-engine heavy bomber every single hour. Not every day, not every shift. Every 60 minutes, a finished B-24 Liberator would roll out, ready for combat. The German officers laughed. Some thought it was a clerical error, perhaps a decimal point in the wrong place. Others dismissed it as obvious American propaganda, the kind of wild exaggeration you'd expect from a democracy trying to boost morale. But a few men, the ones who understood the mathematics of modern war, felt something else entirely. A cold, creeping dread. Because if these numbers were even remotely accurate, the war was already over. Germany had already lost. They just didn't know it yet. This is the story of how German intelligence discovered the truth about American industrial power, how that truth was rejected by the Nazi leadership, and how that rejection sealed the fate of the Third Reich. It's a story about the day the war was lost, not on a battlefield, but in the quiet realization that Germany was fighting an enemy it fundamentally didn't understand. To understand what happened on March 17, 1943, you need to understand the man at the center of German military intelligence. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris was not a typical Nazi. In a regime built on fanaticism and ideology, Canaris was a throwback to an older Germany. A professional naval officer from the Imperial era, he had served in World War I and risen through the ranks based on competence, not party loyalty. His organization, the Abwehr, was Germany's military intelligence service, a vast network of spies, analysts, and operatives spread across every continent. In the early war years, the Abwehr had been brilliant. Their intelligence on French defenses had been crucial to the Blitzkrieg. Their assessments of Soviet military positions had helped guide Operation Barbarossa. They were, by any measure, one of the most effective intelligence services in the world. But by early 1943, Canaris was a worried man. The war wasn't going according to plan. The disaster at Stalingrad had just concluded with the surrender of an entire German army. For months, his agents had been sending back intelligence that seemed impossible, production figures that didn't make sense, factory capacities that violated everything German industrial experts thought was possible. The report spoke of automobile companies building bombers, of housewives operating precision machinery, of a nation that was transforming its entire economy into a war machine while still maintaining civilian prosperity. The intelligence had been building slowly. A Swedish businessman reported seeing a factory building in Michigan that was over a mile long. A Swiss diplomat sent a cable describing American production targets that seemed to have an extra zero by mistake. German agents in Latin America picked up shipping manifests showing aircraft deliveries that exceeded Germany's entire annual production. Individually, these reports could be dismissed. American propaganda, exaggeration, simple errors in translation or transmission. But Canaris and his senior analysts saw the pattern. They cross-referenced sources. They verified information through multiple channels. They did what intelligence professionals do. They looked for the truth beneath the noise. And the truth they found was terrifying. The Ford Motor Company, the same company that had revolutionized automobile production with the Model T, was applying those same principles to bomber production. They were building a facility called Willow Run that would, according to every source the Abwehr had, be capable of producing B-24 Liberator bombers at a rate that seemed physically impossible. To German minds, this was absurd. The B-24 was an enormously complex machine, 70 feet long, weighing 18 tons, constructed from over 1.5 million individual parts. It had 4 engines, each a marvel of precision engineering. It carried sophisticated navigation equipment, bomb sights, gun turrets, communications gear. German factories, representing the pinnacle of European industrial achievement, took weeks to produce a comparable aircraft. The Heinkel He 177, Germany's heavy bomber, required months of skilled labor by trained craftsmen. The idea that Americans could mass-produce such an aircraft, that they could build them like automobiles on an assembly line, seemed to violate basic principles of manufacturing. But the intelligence kept coming. Japanese attachés, Germany's own allies, were sending similar reports with a tone of genuine alarm. The numbers were consistent across sources. The Americans weren't just planning to build a lot of bombers. They were creating an entirely new kind of industrial system. Canaris did the mathematics himself. 1 bomber per hour meant 24 per day, 720 per month from a single factory. The entire German aircraft industry, at its peak, was producing perhaps 200 heavy bombers monthly across all its facilities. This one American factory, if the reports were accurate, would by itself outproduce the entire German aviation sector by nearly 4-to-1. The implications were staggering. This wasn't about one factory or one type of aircraft. This was about a fundamental difference in industrial capability. If America could do this with bombers, what were they doing with fighters? With tanks? With artillery? Abwehr's economic analysts ran projections. They calculated steel production, aluminum output, machine tool capacity. Every analysis pointed to the same conclusion. America's industrial capacity was an order of magnitude larger than Germany's, and they were just beginning to mobilize it. On March 17th, Canaris compiled all of this intelligence into a comprehensive report. He stripped out the uncertainty, removed the qualifications, and presented the stark facts. American bomber production would reach levels that would make German air defense impossible. The Luftwaffe, even fighting with maximum efficiency, could not shoot down bombers faster than American factories could replace them. This was no longer a question of military skill or tactical brilliance. It was arithmetic, and the arithmetic said Germany was going to lose. Now Canaris faced his real problem: getting anyone in the Nazi leadership to believe him. At the top of the German military hierarchy sat Hermann Göring, Reich Marshal, and commander of the Luftwaffe. Göring was everything Canaris was not. Where Canaris was quiet and analytical, Göring was bombastic and theatrical. A World War I fighter ace who had never forgotten his glory days, Göring saw himself as the supreme authority on air power. He was also spectacularly corrupt, living in obscene luxury while Germany's cities burned. When the Abwehr's report on American bomber production reached Göring's desk, his reaction was immediate and dismissive. He called it propaganda, American bluster, the kind of psychological warfare you'd expect from a nation of shopkeepers and salesmen. "The Americans cannot build airplanes," Göring told his staff. "They are very good at making refrigerators and razor blades, but aircraft? That requires precision, discipline, and technical excellence. Things the Americans with their mongrel society simply don't possess." This wasn't just personal opinion. It was core Nazi ideology. The regime's entire worldview was built on racial hierarchy.